Let's talk about why tournaments only allow a single 120 per team. I don't do weapon reviews, so I have no reason to exaggerate how good something is if I don't actually use it myself. With over 22,000 kills on my Igneous Hammer, there's a reason why it's the only primary that you see in any of my trials guides, why I've used it 4 times more than any other primary, and why I recommend it to everyone that asks for a weapon suggestion. It's been gone for over a year, so now that it's back, let me show you why you should use 120s, what makes Igneous special, and what roles you should be looking for. 120s deal huge chunks of damage, compete at pulse rifle range, and are great at team shotting. The main thing holding them back against 140s is their slower time to kill by 0.13 seconds, which might sound like a lot, but if a 120 and 140 are both landing their shots, it'll normally just result in a trade. And that's the important thing, if they're landing their shots. 140s need 100% accuracy, but 120s only need 66. That means any of the 3 shots can be a body and you'll still get that optimal time to kill. So how accurate would you say you are? Well, you can actually find out by looking yourself up on Crucible Report and scrolling down to the weapon stats. I know these only count final blows, and perks like explosive rounds can mess this up, but I've checked and they do tend to line up with the accuracy of shots throughout a match. I've used this to look up the hand cannon stats of some of the most well-known top players so we can get an idea of how they're playing. You'd expect to see accuracies in the high 80s and low 90s, right? Well, it's not even close to that. Everyone's sitting somewhere in the 50s, 60s, way below what's required to be hitting 3 taps with a 140, but in the perfect range to consistently land 3 taps with a 120, even if you add 10% to be generous. So why do you see so many of them sticking to 140s? In my opinion, it's because 140s are what I like to call punching down weapons. A weapon that becomes much more effective when you use it against lower skill players or while pub stomping. That might sound like it applies to every weapon, but let me explain. When you're in a gunfight with someone close to your skill level, especially in the higher tiers of skill, it becomes just as much about making the other player miss their shots as it is about you landing your own shots. Watch any of the top players I mentioned and you'll see this all the time. They're sliding, jumping, crouch shooting, dodging, using any movement tools they can to throw off the other player's aim. I know it's a bit of a meme, but movement is such a massive skill gap in Destiny for this reason, and that's why it's important to pay attention to what playlists you tend to see these players in. Trials, Control, Rumble, all these have anywhere from very loose to no skill-based matchmaking. And yeah, it's very loose skill-based matchmaking. So when someone in the top 1% of skill goes into them, it's not too difficult to land those 3 taps because of the skill difference. And when they are playing in a competitive setting, like in comp or a tournament, many of them will swap to a 120. In fact, a lot of tournament rules limit 120s to 1 per team because of how good they are in a competitive setting. They got range, consistency, team shooting, chunk damage, peak shooting. Okay, I think you guys get the point. And just to be clear, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these players' content or if you yourself prefer to use 140s. I mean, it all comes down to what feels good to you. I'm just trying to outline how a 140 can look amazing in the hands of a great player, but you might be struggling to get that same performance, and using a 120 can make the difference when it comes time to really sweat. So if you've been convinced to give them a try, what makes Igneous Hammer the option to go for? I think the first thing that makes it clear is the ridiculously high stats on it. There's 11 other legendary aggressive frames as of this season, and Igneous Hammer beats them in every single stat category. I'm not even exaggerating that. Range, stability, handling, reload speed, aim assist, airborne effectiveness, magazine size, every single one of them. Besides recoil direction, but that's not a huge difference between 95 and 99. Add on to that the fact that it's the only Adept 120, so if you're able to grab one, the base stats get boosted even higher. It also has, in my opinion, one of the cleanest, easiest to use sights when compared to the other boxy 120 designs. Put this all together and it's clear why Igneous is known as the 120 that feels like a 140. So Igneous already had some pretty great rolls on it, so if they add anything better, that might make it a bit too... Oh, fuck. The god roll that I've used in all my videos is this one. Everything on it is to maximize stability, aim assist, and airborne effectiveness. When I look for perks, the goal is consistency and utility. I play a lot of trials, which resets every round, so I care less about perks that require kills or a setup, and more about perks that help you get those 1 or 2 kills needed to win the round. Rapid Hit and Moving Target are well-known dueling perks, and Extended Mag helps you stay in the fight longer, but if you can't handle the slower reload, use something like Ricochet rounds. The other god roll I'm going for this weekend is this one. I absolutely love Keep Away on Round Robin and think this is going to be even better on Igneous. It's really going to help fight at those pulse rifle ranges and is up more often than something like Fragile Focus is. Eye of the Storm is going to help you in every gunfight, and this goes back to what I said about 120 accuracy. Being able to land that last shot, even if it's a body, will be crucial in winning those gunfights, and this perk's going to help you out with that. So that's about it. I could go into more detail about some of the things I talked about, but I really wanted this video to be a quick summary of why you always see me using Igneous. I know some of the claims I made are pretty bold, and I'd love to talk more about them in the comments or on Discord, so feel free to hit me up there. And good luck to those of you going into trials this weekend to try and grab an adept version. This is my Bungie ID if you want to message me and team up for a few games. Thanks for watching.